I'm back for another video, and today I want to talk about, is Bitcoin dead? There's been so much talk about Bitcoin being dead, and I was like, you know what? I haven't even uploaded in almost a month, so let me bring back some motivation for the people so they don't think like, dang, she just left us in the slums and now we're all getting cooked. No, I still believe in Bitcoin. Nothing has changed. Nothing will ever change. And yeah, let's get into it. Bitcoin is currently trading at $60,000. If you are someone that hasn't done your research, you're going to look at it and be like, oh my God, I bought at the top and Bitcoin is currently down 30% year to date. It's over. And then if you are also an NPC, you'll be like, Bitcoin is down 43% in the last year. My S&P 500 is performing better. Okay, whatever. If you zoom out 5 years, you'll see that Bitcoin is actually up 75%. My whole point in mentioning all these numbers and percentages is to get you to understand that you are measuring Bitcoin the wrong way. Price is just how people feel in the moment about it. It's what people are willing to pay for it right now. The network is what Bitcoin actually is. It's the asset. It's the thing that is running the machine. It's what gives Bitcoin its value. And if you don't understand that Bitcoin isn't just a price chart, it has an actual reasoning behind it. It has an actual foundation, which is the network. You're going to continuously sell it and you're going to lose out on life-changing money. What does dead actually mean? When people say Bitcoin is dead, what does that actually mean? Has the Bitcoin network gone down or has the network stopped functioning? The only question that ever matters is the network still functioning? If the network is still functioning, Bitcoin is not dead. Every 10 minutes, there's still a block being confirmed. The same Bitcoin that was up at 126,000 is the same Bitcoin that is producing blocks at 60,000 and that was still producing blocks at $10,500. I know you're probably thinking, Jami, what's the Bitcoin network? It consists of a couple things, right? Nodes, miners, and rules. Nodes are basically just computers that keep the rules in check. There's thousands of computers around the world that me and you could join. We could join the network and we could look at the transactions within the Bitcoin network. They hold a record of every single transaction that's ever occurred in the conception of Bitcoin. Is that how you say it? And they literally reject anything that doesn't follow the Bitcoin code slash rules. It's basically like a referee if you think about it. Like, you know, when you're watching a game and the referee's like, yellow card, red card, or you're kicked out, they reject things that don't follow the rules of the network. The miners are like the workers. They bundle a bunch of transactions and try to compete to find the next block to add it to the blockchain. That's why it's called a blockchain. It's a chain of blocks and it's continuous, it's forever. Now, the cool thing about all of this is that there's no CEO. And I know I always repeat this, but like it's kind of a hard concept for people to understand because we're always used to having rulers and leaders and CEOs and just someone in charge or in authority. Bitcoin has no off switch because there is no one person controlling it. There's no one person controlling the network. You and I can see everything that's going on within the network at any given moment. That's the special thing about it. If people want to make a certain change within the network, everyone in the network has to agree to it. It's not just one person decides, oh, this is going to happen, so we're going to change it. Everyone has to agree to change that thing. Now, the rules in the network consist of a 21 million supply cap, a new block getting added every 10 minutes, every transaction being verified, no CEO, and so on and so on. So if you have a brain by now, right? If you have a brain and you're listening to me talking about the network, you'll be like, dang, this is kind of cool. I've never seen this before. I should look more into it. But if you don't have a brain, you're going to be like, this is a scam. You're going to get rug pulled, whatever. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people that actually want to learn and understand this paradigm shift. The network is the solution, right? But in order to understand this network, this solution, you have to understand, why was it created? What problem does this solution fix? Across history, there has always been an issue with whoever controls the money can just print more of it. And we've seen it throughout history. Every time someone is in charge or a group is in charge, they will print the money to zero because either they're funding wars or they need to get out of debt, which just creates more debt, or they're just funding something, right? They're just printing more money in order to get something out of it. The Romans shaved coins. We print on a screen. We press a number and we just print money like it's nothing. This is literally a problem that will forever exist and will never go away because it can't. They have to print in order to survive. They have to print in order for the economy to maintain itself. Because this is an infinite problem, the money you save, the money me and you save, can be expanded by someone that isn't us. So while we're working very hard and trying to save our dollars, people in the Federal Reserve are pressing a computer and they're printing that money. And what happens is that we work every day, we try to save our money, and at the end of the day, we can buy less things with the money we do save. We're getting diluted in real time. And here's the best part about it. You can't do nothing about it, and neither can I. So I'm just kidding. That's nothing good about that. That's terrible. Like, if more people understood this concept, they'd be like, man, we have to overturn the government. We have to do something. But here's another cool fact, or it's not cool, but here's another fact. The Federal Reserve controls all of our monetary policies, but they are a private entity, which means they're not even part of our government, but they control all of our monetary things. So yeah, we're basically if you're saving in dollars, you're basically fucked. That's basically what it is. So now that you understand the network and the solution to the problem, Bitcoin is the answer to this problem. Bitcoin is the first money in history, I'm going to keep repeating in history, with a hard cap supply that no one can ever print or turn off or destroy. It's literally just math and code in the network that is enforced by rules that can't be changed by any CEO or one person. Do you know how freaking cool that is? Do you know how much of a solution that is to an infinite problem? So when you have an infinite problem meeting a finite solution, you don't care about the Bitcoin price. You don't care about the $60,000 that it's trading at. You don't care that Bitcoin is down 43% in the past year. You don't care if Bitcoin goes from 126,000 to, I don't know, 59,000 or 40,000. Please, God, let it be 40,000. Please, we need to accumulate as much as possible. But like, when you understand what you're holding, you don't really care for the price because you're like, man, this is invaluable. This has no price tag to it because it's hard money. It's solving a problem that's always existed but is now being solved. And when you have a finite solution to an infinite problem, you best believe that all that capital is eventually going to meet that Bitcoin, that limited supply. And when that happens, it's going to go parabolic. Just remember I'm saying this. We're going to look back in like 10 years, 5 years, and we're like, dang, we should have listened to that one Bitcoin girl. And guess what? You're going to be like, dang, she got lucky. She got lucky. No, I didn't get lucky. I did my research and I did the homework and I learned because learning is cool and the nerds are the ones that are making the money and changing the world. So here's the thing, right? You may think, oh, I don't need Bitcoin. I don't need Bitcoin. I'm making money. Well, here's the thing, right? In 1971, we got off the gold standard, which was for every amount of dollars that we printed, we had the equivalent of gold to back it up. So it wasn't just like the dollars weren't backed by anything, right? But we got off the gold standard. After 1971, everything started to go downhill. Why? Because they started printing a crazy amount of money and they're still doing that. So in 1971, the average price of a home was like 25,000, right? Don't quote me on that. That's like the average, I think. Now, across the United States, the average home is like $1 million, or it's getting up there. Do you know how crazy that is? If your paycheck is in dollars, if you're saving in dollars, and the M2 supply keeps growing, what do you think is going to happen to everything around you? Even if you get a raise, it's not keeping up with the rate at which they're printing the money. Even if you get a raise, the things that you could buy with that raise is still going down. And that's what people have a hard time of understanding. Yes, it looks like you're richer on paper, but in reality, you can't buy as much things as you can with the same amount of money that you were before. For the first time in history, Bitcoin is the one solution that we have in order to step outside of that system. And the problem is that a lot of people like to look at it through a fiat lens, and you can't do that because it's two separate things, it's two separate worlds. When you're saving in Bitcoin, when you take your dollars and put it into something that's limited and can't be printed and can't be shut down, you're now stepping out of that system. Your time, your energy, your life force, it can no longer be inflated away, because as you save in Bitcoin, life gets cheaper now. When you save in dollars, life gets more expensive. The one thing to remember is that just because the Bitcoin price is down does not mean that the network is dead. Does not mean that Bitcoin is dead. You're just looking at Bitcoin as a price chart when it's really the network that's the asset. The price chart is just a byproduct of the asset. As long as the problem exists, the thing that solves that problem will exist too. And there's nobody stopping this train. There's nobody stopping this problem. Like, it don't matter who's the president. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter who's the new chairman of the Federal Reserve. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter if Elizabeth Warren is telling you, we need to tax the Republicans. We need to tax the Democrats. We need to tax the rich. Taxing the rich does not take away from the printing of the money. Taxing the rich does not take away from the money printer. It doesn't solve the printing of money, because that will always be a thing. So I'm going to leave you with this. Stop watching the Bitcoin chart so hard and start learning about the network. Start learning about what makes Bitcoin so valuable. Why are these Bitcoiners so adamant about Bitcoin? Why does Jami make so much videos about Bitcoin? You need to deprogram your money concept, okay? You need to deprogram your mind. Do not look at Bitcoin through a fiat lens. Remove that from your head because it's not going to make sense. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, give it a like, comment, and subscribe. And more videos on the way. I'm also working on some products that I'm eventually going to release. I'm also going to be on a podcast tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you which one. I'm really excited. I eventually want to make some merch. There's a bunch of things that I'm working on behind the scenes, but I don't like talking about things until they're actually done. And yeah, just stay tuned and let's just keep being great.